In this problem, we are asked to create a box plot. The box plot is a graphical representation of the 5-number summary and is used to show outliers. The 5-number summary is given by the minimum value, the lower quartile, the median, the upper quartile, and the maximum. We know the minimum of this data set is 1 and the maximum is 78. The median is the value of the data set that divides it into halves. Since we have 9 data values, 5 would be considered the middle data value. Q1, or the lower quartile, is a value that divides the lower half of the data into halves. Since we have 4 data values, we'll see that the lower quartile is the average of the 2 middle numbers, both of which are 2, giving us a lower quartile of 2. Likewise, the upper quartile is a value that divides the upper half of the data into halves. So, the upper quartile is going to be the average of the 2 middle data values in the upper half of the data set, or between 9 and 10, which is 9.5. Another useful information is to calculate the IQR, which is the difference between the 3rd quartile and the 1st quartile, or the upper quartile minus the lower quartile, which is 7.5. This interquartile range is used to help us to decide if observations are indeed outliers. Outliers are any observation that are more than 1.5 times the IQR from the nearest quartile. For example, any value that's greater than the upper quartile plus 1.5 times the IQR would be considered an outlier. Anything less than the lower quartile minus 1.5 times the IQR would also be considered outliers. For example, we can see that 78 is an extreme value. To determine if it's indeed an outlier, we would take our upper quartile of 9.5 and add 1.5 times our interquartile range of 7.5. Calculating this value, we would get 20.75. which means that any value that is greater than 20.75 is an outlier. This means that 78 is indeed an outlier. Now we are ready to construct our box plot. In order to do that, we need to recognize our outlier of 78 and construct a scale. In order to construct the box plot, we will plot our 5-number summary. We know that our minimum value is 1. Our lower quartile is at 2. Our median is at 5. Our upper quartile is at 9.5. And we know that our maximum value of 78 is an outlier, which I will mark as a star. In order to construct the box plot, we are going to create whiskers from the lower quartile to the minimum value. Our box is going to be created by connecting the lower quartile and the upper quartile. Finally, since we have 78, our largest value as an outlier, our whisker is going to extend to the next largest number in our data set, which is 10. One thing we'll notice is that our interquartile range, which was given by Q3 minus Q1, provides a range of the middle 50% of our data.